John Howard says the caring role played by women diminishes their capacity to participate in politics. The Liberal powerhouse was speaking at the National Press Club in Canberra when he made the remarks. Asked about the fact that the representation of women in Parliament had gone down, particularly in the Liberal Party, Mr. Howard cast doubt on the party's ability for gender equality, saying it was a reflection of society. "I would like to see a natural process whereby there are more women, but I don't think you will ever sort of have 50 to 50. He said. It is a fact of society that the caring role, whatever people may say about it and whatever the causes are, women play a significantly greater part of fulfilling the caring role in our communities, which inevitably place some limits on their capacity." Appearing to anticipate some backlash, Mr. Howard conceded some might think his remarks were a terrible thing to say. "It's not a terrible thing to say. It just happens to be the truth. And occasionally you've just got to recognize that and say it," he said. The former PM was right to expect some negative feedback. This is what Twitter looked like after those comments were broadcast. https://t.co/Kyle Isn't that part of the problem? That politics is tailored towards men, the childless? Surely that's a structural problem that needs fixing. How dare Howard? Why should women be limited? Only old stuffy misogynist would say such a thing. https://t.co/. Mr. Howard's comments echoed similar controversial remarks made by opposition leader Bill Shorten during this year's federal election campaign, when he said women had the second job in the family and were the primary child carer. National coordinator of Labor's women's campaigning group Emily's List, Lisa Carey, told News.com, "Oh, Mr. Howard's comments were unbelievable." She compared the call to former Prime Minister Tony Abbott's reflections about Australian women and ironing. "It's a very sad state of affairs when you've got a major political party in this country holding up quotas of numbers of women in this parliament," she said. In 2016, this kind of attitude is just not acceptable. Ms. Carey praised women from both major parties pushing for equal gender representation in Parliament, but accused the Liberal Party of continual misogyny and deterring women from going into politics. 50% is achievable, but you need a plan, and you need to be committed, she said. "It's only possible if you're actually focused on it. It's only possible if you think it's important." Since the July election, Australia's female representation in Parliament has slipped from 42nd in the world to 50th as other countries around the world implement quotas and targets. Despite declaring himself a great supporter of women, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's coalition has only 13 female representatives in the lower house, and 8 senators, compared to 48 male lower house MPs and 21 senators. Overall, women make up less than a third of federal parliamentarians, with 73 female representatives holding a seat compared to 153 men. Both parties have agreed to set a target of 50% female MPs by 2025. The Liberal Party last week passed a gender reform program designed to address the cultural and organisation barriers that currently exist to more women engaging in politics. WA Senator Linda Reynolds, who was among senior Liberals pushing for equal representation of women and men in Parliament, today said she agreed with Mr. Howard's observations. Today, most kids have 2 working parents. Despite that, the responsibility of child-rearing still primarily resides with the mother. Both parents need to become equal partners in the workforce and at home so that women have the opportunity to be equal in the workforce, she told News.com. "Oh, Mr. Howard is quite right. It will be difficult if not impossible for women to take on 5,050 of professor positions in politics and in all professional until the barriers are removed. Senator Reynolds said despite the criticism being aimed at Mr. Howard, nobody on the left of this argument could possibly argue with the point that he makes. This first episode looks at the John Howard years and the political evolution of the former Prime Minister.